I found the uniform 3 days before she left. It was stuffed carelessly at the bottom of her suitcase, beneath a layer of conservative travel clothes she probably packed just in case anyone took a peek. But not me, right? Her husband. The boring one. It wasn't the first time my gut whispered that something was off, but it was the first time I listened. I lifted the crisp, white nurse's uniform from the suitcase and held it up. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. Those things are for people still hoping the truth isn't what they fear. Me? I was past hope. Alongside the uniform was a brand new set of PPE gear, face shield, gloves, booties, all sealed. Not a wrinkle in sight. And folded beneath that, red lace. The kind you don't wear under scrubs. The kind you wear when you're not planning on being dressed for long. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't even sigh. I just stood there for a while, listening to the silence of our home, the one I built. Literally. I'd laid every floorboard, painted every wall. She loved the kitchen tile. I had picked it out. 2 rooms down the hall. She was humming, packing, smiling, a little too brightly. She stopped smiling around me a year ago, maybe longer. I couldn't remember the last time she touched me without glancing at her phone afterward. Then came the part that turned a slow burn into a detonation. Her phone, forgotten on the bathroom counter, unlocked. Fate has a sense of irony. A message from her sister lit up the screen. "You sure you're ready for this trip? Does your husband suspect?" Her reply? "Doubt it. He's too busy being boring. My boss is so much hotter anyway." I set the phone down without reading the rest. Let me tell you something. When a man finally sees the whole picture, every dot of doubt, every dismissed suspicion connects. It doesn't make you angry. Not right away. It makes you cold. So I became a glacier. I took her uniform, pulled a Sharpie from my drawer, and wrote a single line on a Post-it. No rants. No begging. Just 6 words. "Congratulations on the promotion. I'm leaving." I stuck it inside the sleeve, right where her hand would find it when she dressed to impress her hot boss. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. She thought I was boring? She forgot I worked in tech, specifically in synthetic image algorithms. The same boring job that put this roof over our heads. That paid for her vacations. Her fake nails. Her secret lingerie. I dug into my archives. Footage from company parties, smiling selfies, photos she'd left on the cloud. Him, with that arrogant smirk. Her, in that same red lace from the suitcase, hugging him a little too tightly. I generated what I needed. A perfect AI fabrication. The 2 of them, in bed, unmistakably close. Real enough to make you squint. Then I posted it. Just 1 image. 1 caption. Caught in 4K. My wife, my traitor. And I let the internet do what it does best. You want justice? The man's face hit every feed in the federal chain. Turned out he wasn't just her boss. He was already under scrutiny for procurement fraud, and I'd just handed the feds his head on a digital platter. 30 years. Federal prison. No parole. Turns out sleeping with a subordinate on a government-funded overseas assignment, falsifying reports, and misusing grant money didn't go over well. As for her, oh, she didn't go to prison. She just lost everything else. Her so-called friends ghosted her like the plague. Her social media died overnight. No hashtags. No sympathy. Just silence and judgment. Her family? They came crawling, begging, pleading. "Please fix this. Please take it down." She didn't mean it. I never responded. Because I did mean it. This wasn't revenge. It was closure. The day she left for her business trip, I played the part perfectly. I helped her carry her luggage to the car, kissed her cheek, wished her luck, smiled just enough to keep her from seeing the glacier under the surface. She said she'd call when she landed. I nodded. She never noticed the Post-it in her uniform sleeve. She never noticed the smirk I wore when she waved goodbye. She thought she'd fooled me. She thought I was the fool. And yet, I was the only one who knew exactly what was coming. Within 48 hours, the image exploded. Not viral, strategic. I knew the exact forums, the exact accounts to tag, the exact circles her lover moved in. I made sure the right eyes saw it first. Investigative bloggers, tech watchdogs, compliance officers who'd been chasing rumors about his travel records and ethics violations for years. They pounced like starving wolves. Insider leak? AI deepfake or real? Federal contractor sleeping with subordinate on taxpayer time? He denied everything, of course. Released a statement saying the image was doctored. Claimed it was revenge porn. But AI experts, his own peers, stepped in. If this is fake, It's masterfully done. But the metadata, it raises questions. He flailed. She panicked. She came home early. I was gone. Not just from the house. From everything. I'd closed the joint bank account the night she left. Moved my direct deposit to a new institution. Packed my essentials and left the house spotless. The only thing I left behind was a hard copy of the image on the fridge with a red sharpest circle around her face. And my wedding ring. Melted, reshaped into a sharp-edged gear, mounted like art beneath the words. Boring? No. Just busy ending your story. She called me 37 times that day. Voicemail after voicemail. Each one climbing higher up the emotional scale. Voicemail number 1. Hey babe, you okay? I just landed. Miss you. Voicemail number 5. Where are you? Did something happen? Voicemail number 12. I need to talk to you. Please. Voicemail number 21. You posted that picture, didn't you? How could you? Voicemail number 29. They fired him. He's under investigation. What did you do? Voicemail number 37. Sobbing. Please. My family saw it. I can't go anywhere. Everyone hates me. Please just talk to me. I didn't. I listened to every single one, though. Then came the fallout. Her family reached out next. Her mother, who once called me a safe choice, in front of the entire Thanksgiving table, now groveling through Facebook Messenger. Her father, the one who never looked me in the eye, without some condescending remark about my job, now asking if I'd consider resolving this like adults. Resolve? They didn't ask me to resolve anything when she was packing a lace bra for another man. They didn't think about resolution when she was mocking me to her sister. You only call something a mistake when the consequences arrive. I got a letter a week later. Handwritten. You ruined his life. You ruined mine. Please, let me explain. It smelled like her perfume. The same one she used to wear when she came home from late meetings. I laughed. She still thought I cared enough to read the second page. I burned it. Here's the thing people don't get about betrayal. It doesn't kill you. Not if you know how to transmute it. It makes you cleaner, colder, sharper, a better version of yourself, stripped of delusion. She took a man who gave her everything and treated him like a fool. Now, she gets to live in the truth she created. And me? I'm just getting started. 3 days after the story broke, the company issued a press release. Effective immediately, Mr. Roland Myers is no longer employed by our organization. We take matters of professional misconduct seriously and will fully cooperate with federal authorities as needed. There it was. Her hot boss. The man she'd risked our marriage for. The man she humiliated me over gone. Not just fired. Disgraced. Under federal investigation for misuse of government funds, falsified travel documents, and sexual misconduct in a subordinate relationship. But here's the best part. He wasn't the only one who had something to lose. My wife. Let's just call her Elena now. Names don't matter much when your face is on a scandal poster. Came back to our house like a woman being chased by ghosts. I was already living in a rented apartment downtown, clean, efficient, stripped of memories. But I had left her exactly what she needed to find. A flash drive with copies of the image. A document showing the chain of custody I built to keep myself legally clean. A single note, written in pen on the back of our wedding photo. You made your choice. I made mine. Enjoy the silence. She texted me once more. Elena, please. We can fix this. We can talk. Me. You'll find the key to the storage unit under the stairs. Everything left of me is in there, including my absence. Blocked. Forever. Her job didn't fire her, but they didn't defend her either. HR put her on indefinite leave, pending the outcome of the federal investigation into Roland Myers. You'd be amazed how fast people jump ship when you're radioactive. Her best friends, Melissa, Janelle, Amber, ghosted. Turns out, girls who brunch don't like being associated with a walking scandal. One of them even reposted the image with the caption, "Yikes, I thought she was better than this." Not one of them called her to ask if she was okay. Not one came to her defense. And her sister, the one she'd texted about how boring I was? Oh, she texted me. Hey, I had no idea it was that serious. Are you okay? I didn't answer. I just forwarded her text to Elena. Twice the burn. Zero the effort. Her parents, though, they called. Multiple times. Left long, drawn-out voicemails with that desperate blend of shame and entitlement. Her dad offered me money. Her mom asked if we could maybe just delete the post quietly. Let me make something very clear. They didn't cry for me when Elena left for that trip. They didn't cry for me when she told her sister I was a placeholder. Now they're crying because the world saw the truth. What they didn't realize is this was never about revenge. Not really. It was about restoration. Mine. About reclaiming the dignity she spent years quietly draining from me, piece by piece, lie by lie. She wanted to taste power. To feel wanted by someone who wasn't me. Now she gets to taste the consequences. And I sleep like a stone. That flash drive I left her wasn't just about salt in the wound. It was leverage. Insurance. A quiet little nuke, gift-wrapped in anodized aluminum. Because I didn't just find her red lace, or the text to her sister, or the burner phone history she was too careless to delete. I found something better. Her laptop. She used it like it was invisible. Like it didn't log cookies or store cache or auto-sync with her iCloud every time she logged into the home Wi-Fi. That was her mistake. See, while she was busy packing scrubs and lace and perfume that didn't smell like me, she left the thing open on the kitchen counter. Again. Careless. The folder was called Docs. Inside were PDFs, scanned receipts for expensive client dinners, albums booked under her name, even a transaction for a business gift from a boutique jewelry store 2 cities over. Except those dinners weren't on her company card. They were on mine. From the joint credit card she swore she never touched unless it was urgent. And those albums? Booked for the exact dates of her business trips. But the crown jewel, the reason I knew she'd choke on that flash drive when she found it, was a photo. One single image, buried inside her screenshots folder, timestamped, dated. It showed Roland Myers shirtless, in the mirror of a hotel bathroom. Her red lace was on the counter. She was in the background, taking the photo. I encrypted the drive, put everything on it. The emails, the receipts, the screenshot. Her search history, what happens if you cheat on a federal contractor? A fair workplace HR consequences. Delete iCloud evidence permanently. It wasn't just a middle finger. It was a file folder of everything she'd gambled and lost. Now here's where it gets better. I didn't give that flash drive to her just to hurt her. I gave it to her to remind her. Every time she looked at it, every time she considered playing the victim, it would be sitting there, waiting. Because she didn't know how many copies existed. Didn't know who else might have won. Didn't know if I'd send it to her company. To the feds. To every family member who'd begged me to forgive her. She had no idea how deep the rabbit hole went. And that, my friend, is control. She messaged me again after she opened it. No words. Just a single emoji. And you know what? That was the most honest thing she ever sent me. The silence since then? Golden. Not peaceful. Not forgiven. Just complete. She's trapped in the wreckage of her own choices. Alone. And me? I'm not some phoenix rising from ashes. I'm the match that lit the fire and walked away without looking back. But I'm not done yet. There's still the matter of who else knew. Because Roland Myers wasn't the only man on that hotel receipt. It's always the details that get you. Buried in that string of hotel receipts was a name I didn't recognize, Kevin Travers. It was on a 2-night booking at the Marquette Hotel. The reservation was under Elena's email, but the confirmation forwarded to a different inbox. I traced it. Dummy Gmail account. Disposable. But it connected to an IP address. My IP address. She made the reservation from our home. I almost admired the audacity. I dug deeper. Kevin Travers wasn't some mystery man off the street. He was the compliance officer for her company's federal division. You catching that? The same guy who was supposed to enforce ethics policies. The same guy who signed off on travel reimbursements for employees like Roland Myers. The same guy whose signature was at the bottom of half the receipts I just uploaded to the flash drive. And now, he was connected to my wife. Another betrayal, tucked neatly into the folds of a system designed to protect them, each man watching the other's back, all while reaching under my roof. They thought I was too boring to notice. Too nice to dig. So I paid Kevin a visit. Not in person, this wasn't a movie, and I don't do confrontations that end with shouting and thrown punches. I sent him an anonymous packet. Inside? Copies of the hotel receipt. A timeline. An AI-enhanced still image of my wife and Roland in bed, timestamped and geolocated, right during an approved compliance review Kevin had filed on their behalf. And one note. You covered for them. Hope you kept your receipts. No name. No threat. Just an anonymous courtesy. Call it professional ethics restoration. Within 72 hours, Kevin Travers was suspended. HR leaked it. The statement was short and cowardly. pending internal review into potential misconduct and conflict of interest involving corporate compliance processes. Translation? He was screwed. By my wife. By the truth. By his own laziness. Another domino fell. Another accomplice caught in the collapse. Elena tried to reach out again. This time, a full-blown email. No more emojis. I know you think I'm a monster, but you don't understand what my life was like. You were distant. Always in your office. Roland made me feel seen. Kevin helped because he believed in me. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please. I've lost everything. I just want to talk. You want the truth? I almost responded. Not because I felt sorry for her, but because she said something that was finally honest. I've lost everything. She had, and she was about to lose more. I still hadn't touched the legal side of this. But divorce? That was next. The thing about betrayal, it's not just personal. It's transactional. She thought she was trading up. A boring husband for an exciting boss. A stable life for a secret one. She played me like an ATM with a wedding ring and forgot the one rule every gambler learns the hard way. The house always wins. So I lawyered up, but not like she expected. No angry man with a billboard attorney and a vengeance complex. I hired a calm one. Quiet. Wore suits without patterns. The kind of lawyer whose retainer alone said, I don't shout. I bury. Elena's first response when she was served? Shock. Then indignation. Then desperation. She tried to negotiate. Can we do this without lawyers? Sure, I told her. That's what the lawyer's for, so I don't have to deal with you. We had no kids. Just shared assets. But even that was enough to turn her castle of cards into a house fire. You see, during our marriage, we'd built up quite the portfolio, thanks to my job. The mortgage was in my name. The car she drove? Mine. The savings account with the cushion she dipped into for emergencies? Yep, me again. But the beauty of her arrogance is that she thought a nurse's uniform and a few nights in a hotel bought her freedom. What it bought was a forensic accountant. I turned over the flash drive. The receipts. Her private spending. Every single business dinner she charged to our card while whispering, I love you to another man. Counted. Every hotel she booked using our joint information. Logged. She'd stolen from our marital funds to cheat. That's not just betrayal. That's dissipation of assets. In court, that means she owes me. When she walked into mediation, she was wearing all black, funeral attire, as if mourning the life she threw away. She sat across from me, lips tight, eyes puffy, no makeup. For once, no perfume. She didn't say a word. She didn't need to. My lawyer slid a folder across the table. She opened it. Inside, a breakdown of her spending over the last 18 months. Itemized, highlighted, initialed, and stapled to a waiver of spousal support. If she signed, she walked away with her personal belongings and her dignity in shreds. If she didn't, we'd go to court, and everything would go public. Guess what she did? She signed. No alimony. No share of the house. No car. No half of the savings. She left with a box of clothes and a face full of shame. And I left the office, not with a smile, but something better. Silence. Not the awkward kind, but the kind you get when the storm's past, and the sky clears, and you realize the thunder wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to remind you. You survived. 3 weeks after she signed the settlement, I got a call from a pharmacy I didn't recognize. Hi. This is Walgreens calling to confirm your pickup for the paternity test kit you ordered. I didn't say a word. Just paused. It was like being handed a puzzle piece I didn't know was missing. See, there'd been no talk of children between Elena and me for nearly 2 years. She told me she wasn't ready. Said her job, her stress levels, her cycle, it just wasn't the time. But here it was, a paternity test kit, ordered under my name, billed to my old Amazon account she must have forgotten was still synced to the home computer. I picked it up the next morning. Sealed. Untouched. I opened it, fingers steady, stomach tight. Like I already knew. And sitting on top, crumpled and tossed aside like a receipt she meant to forget, was a used swab, labeled Baby L. That's when everything went still. No thunder. No rage. Just a clarity so sharp it felt surgical. I didn't need a lab to tell me what my instincts already screamed. She hadn't just cheated. She'd gambled on never getting caught. But now I had proof she wasn't just unfaithful. She was willing to let me raise another man's child while pretending it was mine. So I called in a favor. A friend from college, a geneticist. Smart. Discreet. Owed me one. I sent him the swab. Overnight. 2 days later, he texted me a single word. Negative. I stared at it for a full minute. Not because I was shocked, but because that word was freedom. Freedom from the last emotional chain she tried to wrap around my throat. She was going to trap me. If her affair with Roland didn't work out, she'd have pinned the child on me. Maybe she even believed her own lie. Delusion does that. But now, there were no ties left. No shared debt. No house. No sympathy. And no child. Just her. And the choices she made. I printed the lab result. Folded it once. Slid it into an envelope. I didn't mail it. I didn't need to. I tucked it into the front door of her new apartment, the one her sister helped her find when she couldn't afford anything alone. No note. No signature. No fanfare. Just the truth, delivered like a silent verdict. I haven't heard from her since. And that silence? It's not just golden. It's mine. Rock bottom's got a sound to it. It's not loud. It's not cinematic. No thunderclap. No scream. Just a quiet echo, like a dropped key in an empty hallway. That's what it felt like walking into my new apartment the night after I left that envelope on her doorstep. Just a duffel bag, a laptop, and a new toothbrush. But what she didn't realize, what none of them realized, is I was never broken. Just tempered. I started small. First, I got a new mattress. Not one we picked together. Not one with her memory in it. I tossed the old one in a donation bin and didn't look back. Slept on the floor for a few nights while I waited for the new one to arrive. And you know what? I slept great. No restless tossing, no phantom perfume. Just peace. Then I painted the walls. Black, gray, steel blue. Colors that said solitude with purpose. My kind of calm. No more fake joy in yellow kitchens. No more pretending we were fine. Next was the wardrobe. Donated half of it. The one she liked? Gone. That cardigan she used to borrow and never give back? Gone. The suit she said made me look safe? Burned. Replaced it all with sharp lines and darker tones. Understated. Clean. Like armor made from silence. And then my work. I turned every ounce of rage, every trace of betrayal, into fuel. Code poured out of me like blood from a reopened wound. But this time, I wasn't just writing software. I was architecting leverage. I rebuilt the side project I'd shelved during our marriage. You know, the one she told me would never make money. She wanted hotshot bosses and compliments from friends. I wanted equity, ownership, freedom. Within 6 months, I'd soft-launched an AI auditing tool that flagged suspicious financial patterns in real time. Irony, right? The very thing that would have exposed her months earlier was now making me rich. And then came the texts. Not from her, she knew better. From them. Friends who picked her side. Family members who didn't want to get involved. Suddenly they missed me. Wanted to catch up. Wanted to talk about what happened. You know what I said? Nothing. Blocked. Silenced. Gone. Because here's the truth. When you go through hell, and you walk out alone, you don't owe anyone a damn thing. So I built a life with no trace of her in it. New place. New car. New bank. New name on the lease. And that boring husband she used to roll her eyes at? He's now the ghost she sees on billboards. The founder whose product is being adopted by 3 different Fortune 500s. The man whose silence now costs 6 figures a deal. But the best part? She'll never know if I'm happy. Because I made damn sure she's blocked from all of it. She can't see me smile. She can't watch me rise. She can only imagine. And that kind of torture? That's poetic justice. You don't expect it, even when you know it's coming. You're 6 months into a life she no longer belongs to. The dust settled, your routine hums like clockwork, and for the first time in years, your breathing doesn't feel rented. Then she shows up. It started small. A LinkedIn notification. Elena J. Viewed your profile. No message. Just her name. No picture. A ghost in digital form. She was blocked on everything else, but not there. Professional spaces don't come with restraining orders. I didn't react. Didn't flinch. But I knew that was the first crack in the silence. Then came the email. From a burner account, one of those accidental finds. Subject line. No more lies. Just me. I didn't open it. I printed it. Burned it. 2 weeks later, she left a letter at the front desk of my office building. Handwritten. The same handwriting she used on birthday cards, notes on the fridge, post-its on the bathroom mirror. Only this time, the words were bleeding apology. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to say I'm sorry. For everything. For hurting you. For thinking I deserved better when I had the best. I've lost everything. I can't fix it. But if you ever think of me, I hope it's not with hate. I read it once. Then I filed it under irrelevant. But she wasn't done. She sent a photo, printed, tucked into a second envelope with no note. It was her, holding a baby. Roland's, or Kevin's, or maybe someone new. I didn't care. She was tired. No makeup, no filters, just raw skin and hollow eyes. That baby was her new beginning or her final anchor. Either way, it wasn't mine. She'd finally done what she swore she couldn't, built a life without me. And I wasn't jealous. I was grateful. I ran into her once after that. Pure accident. A quiet cafe on 7th. I was meeting a client. She walked in, baby on hip, looking 10 years older. Our eyes met. And in that 1 second, I saw everything. The panic, the hope, the regret. She opened her mouth. I didn't let her speak. Just raised my hand. 2 fingers. A silent wave. And turned back to my coffee. She left 5 minutes later. Didn't order. Didn't stay. Didn't follow. Because she knew. Whatever story she was hoping for. The tearful reunion, the redemption arc, the last-minute save. It was never going to happen. Because I wasn't hers to earn back. Some people come back looking for closure. Others? They come back hoping you haven't healed. But the worst thing you can do to someone who shattered you is heal so loud, the silence destroys them. There's a point where you stop surviving and start sculpting. Not rebuilding, redefining. I wasn't just a man who'd been cheated on. I was the man who took the wreckage and turned it into a fortress. One brick at a time. One truth at a time. And with every person who whispered, I heard what she did. I didn't flinch. I nodded. Because the legacy she left me wasn't heartbreak. It was clarity. After the startup took off, offers started rolling in. Investors, collaborators, even media. The silent coder who exposed a federal contractor with a single post, they loved that story. They didn't know the half of it. But I gave them enough. I let my work speak. Let the product rise. Let the ghost of her betrayal become part of the company's founding mythos. Quiet. Real. No spin. It drew the right kind of people. People who valued substance over charm. Loyalty over charisma. Grit over gossip. People like me. At one conference, a guy came up to me. Early 30s. Sharp mind. Nervous hands. He said, your story saved my marriage. I was about to throw everything away for someone who made me feel alive for 5 minutes. Then I read what happened to you. What you did with it. And I remembered who built the life I was risking. He shook my hand. Hard. That's when I realized. This is legacy. Not just revenge. Not just clean exits and perfect burns. But impact. Turning personal hell into a road sign for the next guy standing at the cliff. I still get messages. Some from men who were betrayed and don't know what to do. Some from women who realize they've married ghosts and want to find the light. Some from former friends of hers, quietly reaching out, offering whispers of, we didn't know. I don't respond. Not because I'm bitter. Because I'm done. The apartment I moved into? Bought the building. Renovated the top floor. Named the unit Phoenix. For the symbolism? No. Because it has no mirrors. I didn't need to look at what I'd become. I knew. And as for Elena? She's gone. Not physically. I'm sure she's somewhere, still trying to piece together a life out of shards she dropped herself. But in my world, she's air. Silent. Weightless. Erased. I don't hate her. I don't think of her with venom or fury. I think of her the way you think of a burnt bridge, not with anger, just understanding. It's gone, and it won't be rebuilt. This isn't the end of my story. It's just the middle. Because when you survive betrayal, truly survive it, you become someone you were never allowed to be before. Unafraid, unapologetic, unattached to anyone who didn't believe in you when you were whole. You ever sit alone in a room, no music, no TV, just the hum of your own breath, and feel nothing? Not the empty kind. The complete kind. That's what power feels like when it's earned the hard way. 6 months after my company hit its second major contract, I moved again. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to. Bought a place up in the hills. Overlooks the skyline. Minimalist. Steel, concrete, and glass. People call it cold. I call it honest. There's no clutter. No fake warmth. No family photos smiling through gritted teeth. Just clean space and quiet air. My throne? It's not a gilded chair. It's a silence I built myself. I work when I want. Travel when I feel like it. Speak when I've got something worth saying. The rest of the time, I watch. People reveal themselves if you let them talk long enough. Especially the ones who pretend. The ones like her. They're everywhere. Always performing. Always looking for applause. And when they realize the crowd isn't clapping anymore, they spiral. I got a message recently. Blocked account. No name. Just a question. Do you ever miss the way it was? I didn't respond. Because here's the truth. I don't miss her. I miss the man I was before her. The man who trusted without armor. Who believed love was enough. Who thought forever was something two people could build with faith and affection alone. But that man? He died with the first lie she texted her sister. And the man who replaced him? He doesn't chase ghosts. He builds empires. Funny thing is, people think revenge is loud, explosive, dramatic. But the most brutal revenge is success without announcement, peace without performance, happiness without her in the audience. So I sit in this house, watching the skyline that used to feel too far to reach. Now it's under my feet. And the throne? It's not built on gold. It's built on grit and regret she'll carry alone. It came in the middle of the night. One of those 2:14 a.m. moments where your phone lights up like an omen in the dark. No name, just a new number, and a message short enough to read without blinking. I never stopped loving you. 12 words. 12 too late. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. Not because I believed her, but because of what those words didn't do. They didn't twist my stomach, didn't break my breathing, didn't pull me back. They meant nothing. Because love without loyalty is like fire without heat. It flickers. It flatters. But it doesn't warm. It just burns. I didn't answer. But I did save it. Printed it. Same way I'd archived her affair receipts, her burner phone records, her hotel bookings. Slid it into the folder labeled Unfinished People. Not for revenge. Not for memories. Just for proof. Proof that even after all the dust had settled, even after the silence had roared louder than any scream, she still thought love was currency. She still believed words could rewrite a truth carved in stone. She still thought the man she betrayed might come back for her. She didn't know he died the night she packed a nurse's uniform and red lace in the same bag. There's a particular kind of finality that doesn't come with a slam. It comes with a whisper. A soft, deliberate no that echoes forever in someone's ribcage. That was mine. My last message to her. Unread. Unsent. But real. I deleted her number. Again. Not out of anger. Out of disinterest. Because indifference? That's the graveyard where narcissists go to die. That was the last time she reached out. The last time she thought she could win the man back who used to hold doors, cancel meetings, lose sleep just to keep her world spinning. And now? Her world spins alone. There's a moment after the war ends where silence isn't peace, it's interrogation. Not from others. Not from the ones who betrayed you or begged you back. From the mirror. It doesn't blink. Doesn't flinch. Just stares. Asking. So, now what? I didn't recognize the man at first. Not the guy I'd become. Not the way my eyes didn't soften at their edges anymore. Not the faint permanent set of my jaw. Not the stillness I wore like a second skin. I looked older, sure. But more than that, emptier. Not broken. Not hollow. Just precise. Every emotion now had to earn its place. I didn't cry. Not once. Not during the affair. Not during the fallout. Not even when I burned the last photo of us on that beach in Carolina where she told me she'd never felt more alive. But I did feel something, finally, in front of that mirror. Relief. Because I wasn't asking myself what I did wrong anymore. I wasn't carrying her sins on my shoulders. I was just a man. One who endured the worst someone could do to your heart while still calling it love, and lived to walk out the other side better. It took time. It took truth. But eventually I started adding things back in. Not her. Not the past. Just life. Music I used to love. Coffee from that corner shop I stopped going to because she didn't like their muffins. A walk at sunrise, where I used to jog with headphones, pretending the tension in my house was just stress. Piece by piece, I stopped being what she left behind and started becoming what she never deserved to touch. That mirror? I leave it clean now. No fog. No dust. No smudges. It doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It just reflects one simple, devastating fact. I am more without her than she ever was with me. Healing isn't a straight line. It's a spiral staircase. And sometimes, on the way up, your foot hits a step you thought you'd already passed. That's the echo. I was walking past a cafe I used to hate, only because she loved it. The kind with $7 lattes and abstract art on the walls that looked like a toddler with a sugar high painted and blindfolded. I stopped, not because I missed her, but because I didn't. And that realization? It rang in my chest like a bell. I walked in. Same barista. Same chalkboard specials. Same table in the corner she used to claim, curled up in her yoga gear and faux deep literature. I ordered her drink. Vanilla oat milk latte. No whip. Extra hot. Then I sat down at her table, took a sip, and nothing happened. No wave of emotion. No heartbreak flashbacks. Just warm foam and overpriced bitterness. I finished it, tossed the cup, walked out, and laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was final. That's the echo. Not a memory begging to be relived. A test. And when it comes, you don't run. You don't scream. You don't crumble. You stand still. Let it pass. Then you move forward. Stronger. Louder. Clearer. The real closure doesn't come from confronting them. It comes from confronting yourself when the ghost walks in wearing her perfume and saying, I remember. I survived. And I don't need this story anymore. That's the moment you stop being the man she broke and become the man you built. If you'd asked me a year ago what I learned from my marriage, I would have given you something pathetic. Something like, trust matters. Love is complicated. People change. But now I know better. Betrayal didn't teach me to hate. It taught me to see. To see people for what they are, not what I hoped they could be. To recognize the difference between presence and commitment. Between affection and respect. Between loyalty and convenience. Elena loved me until it wasn't fun anymore. Until the weight of real life made her crave fantasy. And instead of facing it, she chose flattery over foundation. She wanted sparks, not firewood. So when the nights got cold, she left. But the lesson wasn't hers. It was mine. And it went deeper than anything she could imagine. I would rather stand alone in truth than lay in bed with a lie. Since the dust settled, people have asked, do you wish it hadn't happened? And the truth is, no, because it was necessary. It burned the rot, exposed the cracks, freed the man buried under compromise. I don't miss who I was. I miss the time I gave to someone who never earned it. But I honor it, too, because without that fire, I'd still be asleep in a house where the walls were made of paper promises. Here's the raw truth most men never say out loud. Getting cheated on doesn't make you weak. Staying blind to who they were all along. That's the danger. So now, I see. And I choose. Choose myself. Choose peace. Choose standards that no perfume and a fake apology can ever erode. I didn't go looking for her. Wasn't scrolling through dating apps. Wasn't lurking in bookstores pretending I cared about poetry just to make small talk. I was just living. Whole. Sharp. Unapologetically me. And that's exactly when she appeared. She didn't ask what happened. Didn't prod the wound. Didn't play therapist or saint. She just listened. Not to my story, but to my silence. Because the thing about women who've been broken clean and rebuilt from the ashes, they recognize the same scars on other people. She had them too. Not identical, but carved from the same knife. Different betrayal. Same residue. She didn't flinch when I told her about Elena. Didn't offer sympathy. Didn't say, that's awful. She said, so what did you build from it? That's when I knew. She wasn't here to save me. And I wasn't here to replace anyone. We weren't filling gaps. We were meeting as equals. Whole. Wiser. Uninterested in fairy tales. We didn't fall in love. We chose it. Deliberately. Without illusion. Without the masks. Our dates weren't polished. They were real. Late-night food trucks. Mismatched socks. Morning coffee in quiet kitchens where nobody was pretending to be anything they weren't. She saw me. Not the survivor. Not the man strong enough to endure. Just me. And that hit harder than any I love you Elena ever whispered under candlelight. The first time she asked about the scar on my hand. The one I got rebuilding the garage door after Elena's car accidentally broke it. I shrugged. It's from the part of my life that burned down. She nodded. Looks good on you. She's not a trophy. Not a bandage. Not a shadow of a woman who left. She's the storm after the storm. The one that washes everything clean. She's the kind of quiet I choose. And the kind of fire I'll never have to fear getting burned by. Because we don't play games here. We just build. Together. You wait for it, at first. That text. That email. That handwritten letter on creased paper. Perfume smeared, and too little, too late. The apology. The one where she finally says it. I was wrong. You didn't deserve that. I broke something beautiful, and I can't fix it. You imagine it. Over and over. Not because you want her back, but because you want acknowledgement. You want the pain validated. You want her to admit it wasn't your fault. But it never comes. Not from women like Elena. Because women like her don't apologize. They reframe. They say things like, "We were both unhappy. It just happened. I was confused. You changed. You were distant. You worked too much. You weren't the man I needed." Notice something? Every word bends the blame without ever shouldering it. They turn betrayal into circumstance, cheating into fate, destruction into justification. But, "I'm sorry," not in their vocabulary. And eventually, you stop waiting. You stop checking inboxes. Stop noticing blocked numbers trying to claw back into your peace. You realize the apology isn't her job anymore. It's yours, to yourself. So one night, you stand in front of a mirror, sharp jawline, quiet eyes, no more sadness in the corners, and you say it out loud. To the man who gave everything. To the man who didn't deserve it. To the man who stayed too long, hoping loyalty would melt stone. "I'm sorry. I should have left sooner. I should have loved you more than I loved the idea of her." And just like that, you're free. Because the apology that never came was never meant to. And now, you don't need it. She noticed it before I did. We were sitting in her kitchen, late. The kind of late that only feels quiet when you're with someone who doesn't fill the silence just to kill it. She poured another glass of wine, then looked at me, not at my face, not at my hands, not at the scars people think they need to tiptoe around, but into me. And she said, "You don't flinch anymore when you talk about her." That's when I realized. I didn't. There was a time when just hearing Elena's name would ignite something in my chest. A flicker of rage. A tightness. A ghost. But now, it was just a chapter. Read. Closed. Filed. She didn't know my mind anymore. Didn't rent space in my soul. Didn't linger in the words I chose or the tone I took or the pace of my breathing. She was just a woman I used to know. A warning, not a wound. The woman across from me, this one, the one who knows, she never tried to fix me. She just stood beside me while I fixed myself. She didn't rescue me from the fire. She waited outside, and when I crawled out burned but breathing, she handed me water. And said, "You did it." She's the kind of person who doesn't need constant reminders of where I've been. She just respects how far I've come. We don't talk about the past often, but when we do, it's not with bitterness. It's with clarity. The kind you earn. Not through revenge. Not through rebound. But through reflection. She knows. She knows I'll never be the man who trusts blindly again. And she doesn't want that man back. Because the one I became? The one who rebuilt from betrayal, from silence, from complete collapse? That's the man she waited for. And now? Now I laugh again. Smile without checking for cracks. Breathe without armor. I don't talk about survival anymore. I talk about life. It wasn't planned. I didn't wake up one morning craving closure. Didn't rehearse speeches in my head. Didn't need one last look to validate the years I'd spent crawling out of her wreckage. But life? It hands you scenes you don't script. I was walking out of a client meeting downtown, heading toward the parking garage when I saw her. Elena. She was walking out of a coffee shop, same one she used to drag me into every Sunday like it was a church for her curated, caffeinated rituals. She looked older. Not in the cruel way time punishes, but in the soft, defeated way regret drapes itself across the shoulders. Her eyes caught mine. She stopped. The silence between us stretched a lifetime. She stepped forward first, hesitant, like she wasn't sure if I'd speak or spit. "Hi," she said. Quiet. Fragile. I nodded. Calm. "Elena." There was a pause. Then she tried to smile, nostalgic, tragic, artificial. "You look good." I could have said thank you. I could have said you don't. Instead, I said nothing. Because that silence? It was earned. She glanced down, fidgeted, then looked back up like someone stepping to the edge of a confession. "I heard about your company. About everything. You did really well for yourself." Another nod. Another silence. The kind that reminds someone they lost access. Not just to your world, but to your words. Then she did it. The final grasp. "I think about it. Us. A lot. I was stupid. I know that now. You didn't deserve what I did." She waited. Like she expected forgiveness to fall from the sky. Like pain expires after enough time passes. But what she didn't realize, this wasn't about forgiveness. It was about dignity. And I already reclaimed mine. So I looked at her. Not with anger. Not with pity. Just a calm, leveled gaze that said, "I'm not yours to explain yourself to anymore." And I said, "Take care, Elena." Then I walked away. I didn't look back. Because that wasn't a final moment. It was a footnote. Her story ended long ago. And mine? Still being written by me.